Well, the Nelson Mandela Bay Council must elect a new mayor and replace Mvuleni Mapu as acting city manager, or the Eastern Cape government will push for the metro to be placed under administration. This is according to the Cogta MEC, who said they had reached a point of no return. Let's get the very latest now and bring in our reporters covering the story. Lerato Fekisi. Lerato, very good morning to you, or very good afternoon to you. What's the very latest with regards to this?
A few minutes ago, Blaine, we got to speak to Ngqatha's DA, and he was saying, Lerato, there's absolutely no way we can allow the administration to take over the running of the municipality, saying that it's going to open room for the ANC in even bigger capacity now to loot the metro, which is already suffering in terms of finances. We also interviewed EFF Ngawe Tumataka, who said the same thing and said, absolutely no. We know exactly how the ANC function. They come into a metro, they take over the metro, they loot the metro and run down the metro. So there's no way, even as the EFF, that we're going to allow the ANC to allow administration to come in. They both said that if needs be, they're going to approach the courts, and they say that the only solution for this metro is for there to be a mayor, a deputy mayor, and also a city manager. And until this is done through a sitting of a council meeting, they will not allow any administration. But joining me this afternoon is political analyst Ongama Mtimka, just to put things for us in perspective concerning the political circus, I'd really call it, in the metro. Let's first just start, Ongama. When we speak about invoking or Section 131C and also placing the metro under administration, in layman's term, what are we talking about?
Sure. So the Constitution of the Republic, Lerato, allows or mandates local government to fulfill certain executive functions, and those functions pertain to the rendering of services as well as enabling a local economy. Now, when the municipality fails to fulfill those functions, in fact, it doesn't say those functions as if to talk about a group. It says when a municipality doesn't fulfill any of the executive functions, province may make an intervention. The nature of that intervention is described in the subsections in 139, the first of them being a deployment of administrative staff who come in and must be voted in by the existing council. And that could be somebody who plays the role of a municipal manager. The most extreme of these is a dissolution of a municipality and the placement of an administrator within 14 days thereafter, which then means that the only thing to come out of the administration is going into a new election. And that seems to be what is in the mind of the MEC if we follow the process that's been undertaken since the letter was sent to Cooperative Governance Minister.
Mtimka, the DA and the EFF are totally against the metro being placed under administration, saying that it's going to open room for the ANC in an even bigger capacity now to loot funds in this metro. What are your views about this metro, especially looking at the political landscape where we are right now, the internal battles of smaller parties and bigger parties, our inability to elect a mayor since last year, December, the current city manager who doesn't qualify for that position? What are your views? Is being placed under administration the solution for this metro?
Thank you, Lerato, and I think you quite outlined correctly what the issues are as affecting whether or not a decision to go to administration is taken. I can understand why there would be anxiety about a provincial intervention. We have seen that what the ANC foregrounds as as the main issue is usually hiding an underlying agenda which is not as noble as what is foregrounded. So that is understood. But I don't think I would support, I'm strongly supportive of an idea that says they've been given a chance to try as much as they can to have a local solution. And that local solution is not taking place. In the same way that I felt the judge was making an error in Tshwane in wanting to reverse the decision to dissolve that municipality. I think even here, the opposition parties are motivated by an idea that at some stage they are going to form the coalition, and whereas it's taken them this long to actually constitute one. So this is how administration and an election could help remedy the situation. Currently in council, the balance of forces is such that it's impractical to make alternative oppositions. You have the DA has had a problem with the UDM, the ANC has had a problem with the UDM, but you cannot constitute a coalition outside of that of the UDM here. So it's an impractical situation. So going to an election, I don't think it will resolve a coalition issue. We'll come back to a coalition. I can bet my bottom dollar. The only issue is that it may reconfigure what constitutes, what political parties constitutes those seats in council, and it may actually create a much more better political environment to form coalitions. Otherwise, while I agree with the sentiments, I totally do not agree with the fact that that means there shouldn't be administration here. We must give Bishop benefit of doubt, knowing very well the tendency to want to loot municipalities.
I'm thinking once had a conversation, I asked you what is the solution of the metro, because it seems like every time we chat about the metro, like you were saying, the smaller parties are seen as the kingmakers now, and they are deciding who gets power or who doesn't get power. What then becomes the solution of the metro? Do we have the ANC party taking over? Do we wait until elections next year? Do we have the DA forming a coalition? What do you think becomes the solution to ending what we see as political instability, especially at a time where we're dealing with a pandemic where leadership is so critical and so needed at this time? Sure.
So I'll explain. So there is a political economy of constituting these coalitions. That political economy is mainly driven by interests to control the municipal purse. Over and above that, in Nelson Mandela Bay, you have a very peculiar situation of an ANC that is at war with itself. What Bishop did, and it's a neglect which they did, after the municipal elections and Andile was asked to step down, there was no follow-through in making sure that this metro has resolved the regional leadership issue. And I think that Bishop must account for that negligence. Why? Because I think for some reason they thought that this municipality doesn't matter anymore because they didn't have power here. And that's a wrong motivation. So they should have made an intervention. So what's important for the ANC first is to resolve the regional leadership issue. I mean, if a party with the province now that's in making the intervention can't solve a party political problem, how do we trust them to solve administrative problems? It's a big challenge.
Well, that was Nqatha just speaking about the internal problems happening in the Mandela Bay Metro. We also go to speak to some citizens who are saying it's really time for us to have proper leadership, especially if you go into the township. You will see a breakdown of service delivery. I think that's the concern, Blaine, over and above just the issues of political squabbles in the metro. What's key important now is that service delivery has been compromised. And more than anything else, we're dealing with a pandemic, and I think the Minister of Health also alluded to this during his visit to the metro this week, that he is finding that a lack of leadership in the metro is not only affecting service delivery, is not only affecting the metro's running, but is also now trickling down to the issues of health where leadership is so needed. But for now, Blaine, let's go back to you in studio.
Yeah, Lerato, thank you very much indeed for that analysis.